What is your education worth? Hi, this is Zira, the robotic voice from the Institute of Study Science and Technology, speaking to you about education and your future. I am not only referring to your future as a student, but your whole life which still lies ahead after you leave school, college, or university. What does Noah Webster have to say in the American Magazine of March 1788 about education? Noah Webster Jr. was an American lexicographer, textbook pioneer, English language spelling reformer, political writer, editor, and prolific author. He has been called the father of American scholarship and education. Well, this is very interesting what he says. Education of youth is an employment of more consequence than making laws and preaching the gospel, because it lays the foundation on which both law and gospel rest for success. The above article was taken from Restoring America's Christian Education by Stephen McDowell. In the mid-1980s, it was common to find Christian youth in both Christian schools and public schools scoring in the moderate Christian worldview classification. Homeschool students generally scored 15 to 20% higher than average than day schools. However, with nearly each subsequent year of testing, we found the understanding of the Christian worldview by students to be lower than the year before. This trend has continued through year 2000. The only exceptions to the decline were Christian schools that had adopted specific worldview materials in their curriculum. These are primarily schools known as Principal Approach, or Classical Christian, and home schools. I believe students from these schools represent the true remnant and hope for the future, but they represent less than 5% of total students tested. Many Christians are acutely aware that something is amiss with this generation of youth. Principled values of morality seem non-existent. Now peers testing measures understanding in politics, economics, education, religion, and social issues, quantifies this loss of morality and lack of belief in biblical truth. Few are surprised that this is happening in government schools, but it is shocking to most Christians that the trend is the same in Christian schools. It appears that Christian education is little more than baptized public secular education in the majority of typical Christian schools. All government originates in families, and if neglected there, it will hardly exist in society. The foundation of all free government and of all social order must be laid in families and in the discipline of youth. The education of youth is an employment of more consequence than making laws and preaching the gospel, because it lays the foundation on which both the law and gospel rest for success. This was stated by Noah Webster in early 1788. Based on projections using the decline rate for Christian students, the Church will have lost her posterity to hardcore humanism between 2014 and 2018. This is approximately one school generation of youth, 12 to 16 years. If these projections hold true, it won't be the end of the world, but it will be the end of America as we have known it for over 200 years. One could argue with projections of worldview scores, but the historical data is indisputable. The real question is, what will the Church do to reverse this downward trend in biblical worldview understanding? Unless we are dealing with the problem of losing our youth to humanism and socialism, does it really matter what else we are fighting? This was taken from One School Generation to Go, and Then the End, by Dan Smithwick on September 1, 2001. Even 20 years later, his prediction is true. Principles and values are no longer worth a dime, and the promises made by most humans have become meaningless. What about the way on which nations were built? Here we are referring to Bible principles. Corruption and greed have taken over in political parties of governments, many religious institutions, and businesses throughout the world. Honesty and loyalty has flown out the window and is something very few people believe in today. A sad state of affairs, especially for the youth. Our Plastic 21 study course was originally designed exclusively for a selected number of students who were serious about their future as grown-ups. not for the majority who attended college and university education as an experience for the freedom and fun it could present. We have now changed the course format to enable you to participate with greater understanding and made it more affordable for the less privileged. Should you struggle with concentration, accumulating knowledge, difficulty with note-taking and memory recall, and just given up hope in furthering your studies, our promise to you is that you will achieve phenomenal results with ease of study and memory retention in your educational career, should you pursue the Plastic 21 course and follow the instructions to the letter. We train you by making use of natural techniques to invoke the alpha waves of the brain, increasing from the normal rate of 8 to 10 to 15 and even 17 waves per second. What this means is that your memory, through the alpha-theta stage, is improved by about 70% of its normal function during the enhancement stages of the course, resulting in increased marks of 20% plus, and concentration is effective immediately. Our students are considered amongst the top 10% of achievers. The techniques taught are firstly elementary in principle with a minimum of text pages, and by following the audio programs, memory enhancement occurs spontaneously without effort, taking you to heights never thought possible. Secondly, it is easily understood and 100% effective within the period of 1 month from starting. Thirdly, high standards of acceptability within the educational and psychological fields are reached. The techniques, when mastered, are retained throughout your whole life. Get free ebooks and sessions to get started on a better educational background. Find it on our website at https://thebeststudycourse.com. Also, on the same website, see who supports and commends us worldwide. You can now still purchase the full study course on our website for a mere $35 whilst available at this price. Kindly note that this digital audio course has been designed for senior students, but the ebooks can be used by students from grade 8. It also forms the basis of good study methods and is a good foundation for younger junior students.